I think in my experience, Christian leaders are particularly vulnerable to sexual temptation. I think there are a number of reasons for that. I think that Christian ministry gives both opportunities and creates stresses that might make people vulnerable to sexual temptation. And sexual temptations take very different forms. So the reasons why somebody might have sex with a prostitute are very different from the reasons why somebody might want to have an affair with a member of their congregation. One is really just a seeking of physical release. The other is actually craving for an intimacy with a person. So people are tempted sexually for different reasons. But I think the stresses of ministry can open up to Christian leaders. Sexual immorality is a way of gaining quick happiness or status or feeling more successful in their lives or overcoming a loneliness that they experience in ministry. Tragically, there are some Christian leaders who exploit the vulnerable people that they are ministering to. Christian leadership is often very relational, and Christian leaders are often caring for people who are weak and vulnerable and having struggles. Again, in church life, pastors who are caring for vulnerable women who might have experienced difficulties in their marriages or breakdowns in their relationships. Again, that gives them an opportunity to exploit and take advantage of those vulnerable women. Tragically, there have been those who've engaged in the abuse of children in the context of Christian ministry. So sometimes ministry opens up opportunities of access to vulnerable people that those in other walks of life don't have in the same way. But also, I think Christian ministry is often lonely. Ministers are often Christian leaders are spending much of their time giving out to others, they're serving others, they're wanting to care for them, they're wanting to love them. And that can be very costly and emotionally draining. And I think sometimes for Christian leaders, they become empty and emotionally drained themselves. And so they find themselves looking for comfort in sexual relationships with others. So it can sometimes be a consequence of the stress of the ministry, the emotional drain of the ministry, and seeking an illegitimate sexual relationship can be both a thrill, but it can also be a way of seeking to gain emotional fulfillment that they may feel they're otherwise lacking. I think those particular features of Christian leadership just open up vulnerabilities which had led some Christian leaders to fall into sexual sin.